It's set to crank settings. You have to be rough.
So these first three poems are kind of parts 1, 2, and 3 of a longer sort of movement. The first one is called Indian Summer Nights. You lifted the oar. Water ran down your bare arms, chest, stomach, legs, pooled at your feet. The streaming water left trails on your body, where it rinsed away well-earned sweat and dirt. I was feigning seasickness, lying in the bottom of the canoe, watching the woods pass, watching you leave us. In one motion you turned, sank the oar into the water, your chest bulging with the effort. In the eddies that followed us, I saw your back, broad, flat, and smooth, reflected 1,000 times in the wake of your labor. We passed a flock of bathing loons. You stopped paddling and slowed. Drifting past you, shut your eyes and lingered in their song. As we continued, I closed my eyes, listening to the melody of your work, taking pleasure in its splash and grunt as you pressed the oar behind you. We made it to a sandy bluff that afternoon. Naked, we climbed a crooked pine that leaned out over the water, then dropped 20 feet into the river. We wrestled on the shore, our limbs were sleek with river water and sweat, wriggling out of a hole. I guess. You kissed me, touched my thigh, sighed. By dusk we lay heaped on the sand, basking in the last heat of the day. We drew closer, unashamed of touching, sharing our heat against the cool air. We pitched our tent, collected wood, ate pancakes for dinner, painted each other with syrup. The loons hushed to listen in on our laughter. We bathed in the river. Our bodies shone bronze under the moon. We splashed and howled, echoed through the forest. The sweet river water and your salty flesh mingled their flavors in my mouth. You ran your fingers through my hair. I tickled the nape of your neck. We dried off by the fire, the yellow-orange dancing on our bodies. Above, the Milky Way blanketed us. We put out the fire, went to our tent, and drifted asleep as the sun rose, not caring to untangle our bodies. While across the river, unseen, loons sang to us their dog song. Song of Ourselves. The way the sunlight hit you, the longing grace in your voice, the way your cheeks would flush, licked by a cool summer breeze. The games we used to play, chasing each other on hot days, playing good guy, bad guy games, taking turns capturing one another, running half hidden in the field of tall grass, swimming out so far the shore disappeared, laying down in soft cranberry bushes, drawing pictures on a blue sky. The day we went deep into the woods, staying down a bluff overlooking the river. At night you lay naked on soft sand, salty lesions from one another's skin. Blood Lake. The cranberry bushes that grow at Blood Lake are large enough that even under the weight of 2 bodies, their plush forms will keep you high above the water. Running over the bushes, breathless in our frenzied bacchanalia, we would sometimes stop, and you would say, "This is what God's feel like running over clouds." I laughed at you and tackled you onto the bed of summer-ripe fruit, and we lay there to our stomachs sour from too much oversweet berries. Beyond the cranberry bog, there's an overturned tree. Beneath the spot where the roots once were is a pit of muck, decaying plant matter thousands of years old, and several thousand more it will be away. One day, frenzy throwing off drunk on cranberries, I dove in. There was a suction, and I lost my show. Later, you lost yours, and we laughed back to the tent, naked and covered with muck. he asks his lovers. He asks his lovers to kiss the small of his back, the part where he says it's sensitive. Olive marks, long, thin, welt-like lines, brilliant white against his coffee black skin. Scars from childhood meetings. He chuckles. Laugh because he's laughing, even though it's forced, because his joke rings with truth. You can hear that truth at night when you're lying on his back and your belly is soft and warm against his skin, and he asks you to kiss the stars. And you're his lover, so you kiss him there, and the tissue is cold, and the heat of your lips makes him shudder, and he sighs, and you rest your head on his back, and you listen to his heart echoing in his chest, and he asks you to kiss the small of his back. Practical insomnia. No matter how many blankets I put on the bed, I never get one. No matter how many times I tell you, it doesn't change. I wake in the middle of the night, 1, 2:36, 2:57, ad infinitum, freezing. When I try to take some small quarter of a blanket, you rev up in it further, then mutter, move over, or shove when I'm already on the edge of the bed. You wonder why I'm tired in the morning. You call me lazy. I envy Doris Day, that it was acceptable when she made Rock Hudson sleep in his own bed. This next one is a short haiku cycle. It's actually part of the longer haiku piece that I'm working on now. It's called Minutia, or Mechanics. At the advent of autumn, commuting, cleaning the attic, sitting through meetings, the hamper gets full, dinners at 7, napping on a dreary day, assessing the pantry. Unpacking sweaters and long johns, furnace clanking. Riding the red line, a woman spills her coffee, shoes wet, I smile. Moth-eaten maps of Africa, warped vinyl. Wanting nothing more than to breathe the summer air, I take project notes. Woven fires of burning red flags, laundry day. Sitting down to eat, smiling across the table. Telemarketers. Rain like shoes of soldiers echoes off the roofs. Running out of bread, pasta, butter, eggs, and milk. Also, out of scotch. Now, these last two I'm going to finish with are about my grandmothers, my paternal and maternal grandmother, respectively. The latter, I think it's fun to know it's actually a true story. Things my grandmother once told me. That math was religion, and that God is zero. That the skins from pears make the best preserves. That a corn silk mattress is only good for a week. That nothing feels hotter than Mississippi. Alcohol and swine are to be avoided at all costs, as should the feeling of having settled for less. The day doesn't begin until your feet leave the bed, and anything you decide before that becomes true. Snakes are Allah's one mistake, and that I will never get her corporate recipe. Home remodeling. She wanted new cabinets, but her husband was cheap. He liked to save his money for the horse with that bartender. One afternoon, while preparing lunch, with her husband sleeping, this is the way of night shift couples, she decided to make BLTs. And if the bacon grease caught fire, and if it splashed into the cabinets, and if she didn't wake her husband, and if the cabinets were no longer salvageable, well then, the new ones would be glossy lime green.